In a world of constant motion and overwhelming noise, most people feel like they are perpetually striving, pushing against an invisible current. They chase elusive goals, yearn for perfect circumstances, and react to every slight tremor of life with frustration or despair. They believe that if only their external world were perfectly aligned, if they had more money, a different job, a better relationship, or simply more time, then, and only then, would everything finally fall into place. They live with a persistent, nagging sense of unease, a feeling that true peace and control are always just beyond their grasp, waiting for some future condition to be met. This ceaseless pursuit, often fueled by societal expectations and internal narratives of inadequacy, locks individuals into a cycle where their well-being is contingent upon factors largely outside their direct influence. They mistake the symptoms for the cause, endlessly rearranging the deck chairs on a ship they perceive as sinking, without ever questioning the nature of the voyage itself. This illusion of external dependency is a heavy burden, preventing a deeper inquiry into the true source of lasting contentment. But what if this entire premise is flawed? What if the struggle you feel isn't because the world is inherently chaotic, but because of a deeper, more subtle problem within? What if the relentless pursuit of external perfection is precisely what prevents anything from truly falling into place? The truth is, genuine harmony isn't found by rearranging the world to suit your preferences. It's found by understanding and applying a set of timeless truths that simplify the complex, calm the anxious, and empower you to build an unshakable inner world, regardless of what storms rage outside. This isn't about passive acceptance, it's about active, deliberate mastery, a profound philosophical journey towards eudaimonia, not as fleeting happiness, but as a deep, flourishing state of living in accordance with virtue and reason. It's about transforming your relationship with reality, so that instead of battling against life, you begin to flow with it, commanding your own experience from within, cultivating a robust inner freedom that no external circumstance can diminish. It's about recognizing that the power to define your reality and secure your peace resides entirely within the sanctuary of your own mind. Most people spend their lives reacting. Few learn the power of remaining calm, silent, and in control. If something in today's message resonated deeply with you, it's because a stronger version of yourself is trying to emerge. Thousands have already discovered the principles inside this silent power, and many say they wish they had learned them years earlier. Plus 5 exclusive bonuses. The silent power reveals timeless Stoic lessons for mastering emotions, building unshakable confidence, commanding respect without speaking, and developing the mental strength that cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity. The question is simple: will you continue reacting to life, or start mastering it? Get instant access through the first pinned comment, and begin your journey toward true self-mastery today. The first hidden problem most people fail to recognize is that their internal landscape is in a constant state of low-grade chaos, entirely independent of their external circumstances. They believe their stress comes from their job, their relationships, or their finances. But often, the truth is more insidious. The internal agitation is a default state, and external events merely provide convenient scapegoats for it. Imagine a pool of water. When the wind blows, ripples appear. Most people attribute the ripples solely to the wind. Yet, the hidden problem is that their pool, their mind, is already turbulent, not calm. It's never truly still. Even in moments of external calm, their thoughts race, their anxieties simmer, and their desires create a constant undercurrent of dissatisfaction. This isn't just about wishing for things to be different, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of where true peace resides. We are conditioned to seek order outside ourselves, believing that once everything is perfect out there, inner calm will automatically follow. But this is a profound illusion. You could have every external comfort imaginable, perfect health, immense wealth, harmonious relationships, and still feel an internal disquiet, a hollow emptiness if your mind itself is not disciplined. The hidden problem is the unexamined assumption that our feelings are dictated by our environment, rather than understanding that our interpretations and reactions to that environment are the true architects of our emotional state. We spend our lives trying to arrange the furniture of the world, never realizing the house itself, our mind, is vibrating with instability. This perpetual internal turbulence, often unacknowledged, is the root cause of why everything never seems to fall into place, even when logically it should. It's a burden carried silently, disguised as external frustration, and it prevents us from accessing the profound stillness that is always available within. Until this internal disorder is addressed, any external calm will be fleeting, a temporary reprieve from a deeper, unseen storm. We must learn to distinguish between the noise of the world and the cacophony of our own minds, recognizing that the latter is far more within our power to quiet. Our automatic judgments, our unexamined impressions, what the Stoics called phantasiae, are the true architects of this internal chaos. We often assent to these impressions without question, allowing them to shape our emotions and perceptions, rather than stepping back to evaluate their truthfulness and utility. This failure to exercise our faculty of choice, our prohairesis, in discerning and challenging these internal impressions, is the root of much of our suffering. The mind, left untended, becomes a breeding ground for irrational fears, unhelpful desires, and distorted perceptions, all of which contribute to the underlying hum of dissatisfaction that no external achievement can silence. This leads directly to the second common mistake that keeps people trapped in this cycle of seeking and dissatisfaction: the relentless pursuit of external solutions for fundamentally internal problems. When faced with anxiety, instead of examining their thought patterns, people often try to change their job. When confronted with sadness, rather than exploring their values and perceptions, they might seek a new relationship or indulge in transient pleasures. The belief is that, if the outside changes, the inside will naturally follow. This is a profound misdirection of energy, a chasing of shadows. It's like trying to fix a faulty engine by repainting the car. The surface might look different, but the core issue remains, silently sabotaging true progress. We live in a world that constantly sells us this illusion: buy this, and you'll be happy. Achieve that, and you'll be fulfilled. Look this way, and you'll be confident. This fuels a consumerist mindset applied not just to products but to life itself, where every discomfort is seen as a signal to acquire or discard something external. Seneca observed this centuries ago, noting how people wander from place to place, from one pursuit to another, never realizing that the source of their discontent travels with them. They are like a sick person who blames the bed for their illness, constantly moving to new beds rather than seeking a cure for themselves. The real mistake is the failure to recognize the locus of control. External circumstances are largely indifferent to your emotional state. They simply are. Your emotional state, however, is a product of your judgments about those circumstances. To attempt to control the uncontrollable external world as a means to achieve internal peace is not just inefficient, it's an exercise in perpetual frustration. It diverts immense mental and emotional resources away from the only arena where true, lasting change can occur: the inner world of your perceptions, judgments, and reactions. This fundamental error locks people into a cycle of seeking, never finding, because they are digging for water in the desert when a well exists in their own backyard. Breaking free requires a radical shift in perspective, a reorientation of effort from the outside in. This pattern extends beyond material possessions. It often manifests in the pursuit of external validation, seeking approval from others, or trying to manipulate social outcomes. We mistakenly classify these preferred indifference, wealth, reputation, health, as inherent goods, leading us to attach our well-being to their acquisition or preservation. The Stoics taught that true good resides only in virtue, in the wise exercise of our prohairesis. Anything else, while perhaps preferable, is ultimately indifferent to our moral character and our inner peace. To build a life around chasing these external indifference is to build on shifting sand, ensuring perpetual insecurity and a fragile sense of happiness. To begin this essential reorientation, we must embrace a powerful yet rarely practiced Stoic habit: the premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This isn't about wallowing in negativity or being pessimistic. It's a profound exercise in mental preparation and resilience. Most people shy away from contemplating potential misfortunes. They prefer to live in a state of hopeful denial, believing that by not thinking about bad things, they can somehow prevent them. But this leaves them utterly unprepared and emotionally shattered when adversity inevitably strikes. The Stoic approach is precisely the opposite. Imagine Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, frequently meditating on the possibility of illness, betrayal, or even death. He wasn't doing this to invite misfortune, but to neutralize its sting. By calmly and rationally considering what could go wrong, losing a loved one, facing financial ruin, suffering a physical injury, experiencing public criticism, you begin to strip these events of their power. You realize that while the events themselves might be challenging, the fear of them, the anticipatory anxiety, is often far worse than the reality. When you mentally rehearse these scenarios, you desensitize yourself. You develop a mental vaccine against future shocks. You ask yourself, if this were to happen, how would I respond? What would truly be lost? What remains within my control? This practice doesn't make you morbid, it makes you robust. It helps you distinguish between what is genuinely bad and what is merely inconvenient. It also fosters a deeper appreciation for what you have now. When you consider the possibility of losing your health, you appreciate your current vitality. When you imagine losing your possessions, you value the simplicity and freedom of having less. This habit transforms abstract fears into concrete, manageable thought experiments. It prepares you to meet life's inevitable challenges not with panic, but with a quiet fortitude, because you have already walked through the fire in your mind. This way, when the unexpected occurs, it doesn't arrive as a devastating shock, but as a scenario for which you have already mentally conditioned yourself, allowing you to respond with reason rather than raw emotion. It's a proactive defense, building an inner fortress against the unpredictable assaults of fate. This exercise sharpens your faculty of judgment, allowing you to separate the event itself from your interpretation and emotional reaction to it. By mentally dissecting potential adversities, you strip them of their terror, realizing that while external events can be inconvenient, they cannot touch your inner core, your prohersis, which remains free to choose your response. It cultivates courage and temperance, allowing you to approach the future with a sober readiness rather than a naive optimism that crumbles at the first sign of trouble. The reason this practice is so effective lies in a fundamental psychological mechanism: the pervasive human tendency towards attachment and the cognitive bias of expectation. Our minds are wired to create narratives about how things should be, how we deserve things to unfold. We become deeply attached to these preferred outcomes, these specific ways we envision our lives. This attachment isn't just a preference, it's an emotional investment, a binding of our inner peace to external conditions. When reality inevitably deviates from these deeply held expectations, and reality always deviates, our minds register this as a threat, a loss, or an injustice. This gap between expectation and reality is the engine of much human suffering. We are not upset by things, but by our judgments about them, as Epictetus reminded us. Our expectations are like invisible chains we wrap around future events, hoping to bind them to our will. But the future is unbindable. When these chains snap, we feel the pain of release, not understanding that the pain comes from the broken chain, not the uncooperative event itself. This psychological mechanism of attachment creates a vulnerability. Every specific desire, every fixed outcome we cling to, becomes a potential point of agony. The Stoics understood this profoundly. They taught us to embrace amor fati, a love of fate, which isn't passive resignation, but an active acceptance and even appreciation of whatever life brings. It means recognizing that the universe doesn't owe you a specific outcome. It means detaching your internal peace from the vagaries of external fortune. When you lessen your attachment to particular outcomes, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster. Your joy is no longer contingent on everything going your way, and your suffering is no longer amplified by the belief that things shouldn't be this way. You replace the fragile hope of external perfection with the robust serenity of internal resilience. This understanding liberates your mind from the futile struggle against reality and allows you to find contentment in the present moment, whatever it may hold, because your deepest well-being is no longer tethered to the unpredictable currents of the world outside. This detachment does not mean apathy. It means cultivating a deep sense of psychological freedom. It allows us to strive for our goals with enthusiasm, to love deeply, and to engage fully, but always with the understanding that the outcome is not solely up to us, and our inner peace does not depend on its specific manifestation. It shifts our focus from hoping for a perfect external world to cultivating an unshakable inner character, which is the only true source of lasting joy and tranquility. Most people spend their lives reacting. Few learn the power of remaining calm, silent, and in control. If something in today's message resonated deeply with you, it's because a stronger version of yourself is trying to emerge. Thousands have already discovered the principles inside the silent power, and many say they wish they had learned them years earlier. Plus 5 exclusive bonuses. The silent power reveals timeless Stoic lessons for mastering emotions, building unshakable confidence, commanding respect without speaking, and developing the mental strength that cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity. The question is simple: will you continue reacting to life, or start mastering it? Get instant access through the first pinned comment and begin your journey toward true self-mastery today. Consider the story of Seneca, one of Rome's most prominent Stoic philosophers and a wealthy, influential advisor to emperors. For all his wisdom and power, Seneca was not immune to the unpredictable whims of fate. In 41 AD, Emperor Claudius, influenced by political maneuvering, banished Seneca from Rome to the island of Corsica. Imagine the shock, the injustice, the sudden loss of status, wealth, and proximity to power. Most people would descend into despair, bitterness, or frantic attempts to reverse their misfortune. But Seneca, for 8 long years, demonstrated the profound power of Stoic principles. While in exile, he didn't waste his days lamenting his fate. Instead, he turned inward, recognizing that while his physical location and external circumstances were beyond his control, his mind, his judgments, and his capacity for philosophical reflection remained entirely his own. He wrote, he studied, he refined his Stoic philosophy. He used the solitude of exile not as a punishment, but as an opportunity for intense self-mastery. He focused on cultivating inner virtues, patience, wisdom, resilience, self-control, and justice in his philosophical reflections, knowing these were possessions that no emperor could strip away, no island could isolate. He understood that true freedom wasn't about being in Rome. It was about being free within his own mind. His voluntary internal exile, even amidst involuntary external exile, allowed him to deepen his understanding of himself and the world. He transformed the potentially devastating setback into a crucible for growth, a proving ground for the very philosophy he espoused. When he was eventually recalled to Rome, not only was he more philosophically mature, but he carried with him an unshakable inner strength forged in the crucible of adversity. His exile became a testament to his teachings, that our happiness and serenity are not found in the absence of hardship, but in our disciplined response to it. Seneca's story powerfully illustrates that external misfortune, when met with a Stoic mindset, can be transformed from a source of suffering into a catalyst for profound growth and a deeper understanding of what truly matters. He didn't just survive exile. He thrived intellectually and spiritually because he knew where to place his focus and energy, exercising his proheresis to choose wisdom and virtue above all else, regardless of the hardships of his external world. To integrate these lessons into your daily life, cultivate the practical exercise of the dichotomy of control. This is not a complex philosophical concept, but a straightforward mental audit you can perform multiple times a day. Epictetus taught us that the primary task in life is simply this: to identify and separate what is within your power from what is outside your power. Our opinions, impulses, desires, and aversions, these are within our control. Our body, possessions, reputation, and public office, these are not. The exercise is simple. Throughout your day, whenever you feel stress, frustration, or a sense of helplessness, pause. Take a deep breath. Then, mentally list the elements of the situation causing your distress. For each element, ask yourself, is this entirely within my control? Can I directly influence this outcome through my actions, my choices, my effort, or my attitude? Or is it largely dependent on external factors, other people, or sheer chance? The goal is to rigorously separate these two categories. Once you have made the distinction, consciously shift your focus. Release your emotional grip on everything outside your control. You don't ignore it, you simply acknowledge its existence without allowing it to dictate your inner state. Then, pour all your energy, all your ingenuity, and all your effort into the things that are within your power. If you are stuck in traffic, you cannot control the traffic, but you can control your reaction, your choice of music, or how you use that time. If a colleague criticizes you, you cannot control their words or opinions, but you can control how you interpret it, whether you engage, and how you respond. This daily audit sharpens your discernment. It prevents you from wasting precious mental and emotional resources on futile struggles. It directs your efforts towards the only domain where you possess absolute sovereignty, your inner world. Over time, this consistent practice builds a profound sense of agency and calm, because you learn to channel your will effectively, creating a personal sphere of influence that is impregnable to the chaotic forces of the world. It is the ultimate tool for strategic self-management, ensuring that your energy is always invested wisely, yielding maximum inner peace. This practice helps distinguish between initial impressions, what the world presents to us, and our assent to those impressions, our judgment and reaction. While we cannot control the impression, we have absolute control over whether we give our assent to it, whether we agree with its implicit judgment of good or bad. This conscious withholding or granting of assent is the foundation of our freedom, allowing us to maintain our inner tranquility, euthymia, even in the face of external turbulence. When you consistently apply these Stoic truths, a profound identity transformation begins. You move beyond merely coping with life's challenges to truly mastering your experience of them. You evolve from someone constantly buffeted by external forces to an individual who possesses an inner citadel, a metaphor Marcus Aurelius used for an impregnable fortress of peace and reason within oneself. This citadel is not built from indifference or apathy, but from a deep, rational understanding of reality and a disciplined cultivation of virtue. You no longer need the world to conform to your desires for you to feel at peace. Instead, your peace becomes an internal constant, an anchor that holds firm no matter how turbulent the external seas. The subtle chaos that once simmered within is replaced by a profound stillness. The desperate chase for external solutions to internal problems ceases. You learn to embrace amor fati, welcoming whatever life presents, knowing that you possess the inner resources to face it with equanimity. Adversity no longer paralyzes you, it becomes a proving ground for your growing strength. This transformation is not about becoming emotionless, but about becoming emotionally intelligent, responding with reason and wisdom instead of impulse and fear, cultivating what the Stoics called eupatheiai, healthy emotions rooted in rational judgment. You awaken to the realization that true power lies not in controlling the world, which is impossible, but in absolute command of yourself, which is entirely within your grasp. Everything falls into place not because the world changes, but because your relationship with the world has fundamentally transformed. You become unshakable, not because you avoid storms, but because you have built a fortress that can withstand them all. This is the ultimate self-mastery, a quiet confidence that radiates from within, demanding respect not through force or noise, but through the serene power of a mind truly at peace. It allows you to engage fully with life, to strive, to love, to contribute, but always from a foundation of inner calm. What specific aspect of your life feels most out of place right now? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss how these Stoic truths can help you bring order to it. If this journey of self-mastery resonates with you, remember to like this video and subscribe for more timeless wisdom. Most people spend their lives reacting. Few learn the power of remaining calm, silent, and in control. If something in today's message resonated deeply with you, it's because a stronger version of yourself is trying to emerge. Thousands have already discovered the principles inside the silent power, and many say they wish they had learned them years earlier. Plus 5 exclusive bonuses. The silent power reveals timeless Stoic lessons for mastering emotions, building unshakable confidence, commanding respect without speaking, and developing the mental strength that cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity. The question is simple: will you continue reacting to life, or start mastering it? Get instant access through the first pinned comment, and begin your journey toward true self-mastery today.